the Penguin lived near the North Pole, where the weather was icy, snowy, and cold, where the sun would shine so very bright that Penny had to cover her eyes. She had to squint all day long because the sun hurt her eyes, it shined so strong. When the sun went down and it became night, Penny would play in the snow and the ice. While the penguins were sleeping, she'd play 'neath the moon. She could see so much better than she could at noon. One day some men came with lots of supplies and set up a camp 'neath the big sky. They stayed near the penguins and watched them all day, and they would watch Penny at night when she'd play. One night Penny felt very brave and went close to the camp where nobody strayed. The men were all sleeping, all except one, and he whispered at Penny, "Come here, come, come." He said, "Don't be afraid, I am your friend," and he offered her treats again and again. They smelled so delicious, so yummy and sweet. She took bite after bite of the nice man's treats. She'd made a new friend that she wanted to keep, but it was time to go back to the penguins to sleep. Days went by and Penny would wait until the moon was bright, and then she'd slip away. Night after night, without making a peep, she'd go back to the camp for treat after treat. The man talked of things she couldn't understand, but he would pet her head with his gentle hand. Then he'd say goodnight, and off she'd go, back to the penguins asleep in the snow. Until one day the men began packing their things, and Penny saw something in the sky with big wings. It landed next to the men in their camp, and it made a loud noise and shook the land. She squinted to see what was going on, but the sun was so bright and soon they were gone. That night she wandered back to the place, but all that was there was an empty space. She started to cry and looked for her friend. She wondered if she'd ever see him again. She lowered her head, and there at her feet was something she'd never seen. Maybe he'd left this present for her. She picked it up, and it was superb. Penny studied it closely, and to her surprise, it went on her face to cover her eyes. It made things look darker, as dark as the night. She could wear it whenever the sun shines so bright. Penny couldn't wait to show all her friends. She would never have to squint again. When the penguins woke up, they got a surprise, because Penny had something over her eyes. They watched her dance and play and slide in the snow. What was on her face? They didn't know. Penny was happy she wouldn't have to squint, and she thought of the man every day since. Maybe someday he would return. There's so many things she'd like to learn. But until then, Penny will play in the sun with all the other penguins and have lots of fun.